Hello, and welcome to the Chamber Talk Show. I'm Dr. April Givens, licensed psychotherapist. We have here Dr. KaNisha Hall and Dr. Tomekia Manning. Welcome. So
Hello.
today we're going to have a special guest, Miss Darlette Johnson Bailey. So she's here to talk to us about the aftermath of the George Floyd incident and the Derek Chauvin trial. So, ladies, first starting off, what are some of your reactions to this trial? Are you glad that it's finally over?
Before we get into the seriousness of this, can we just get a reaction to that promo? That's my first time hearing it, and that it was banging. Like seriously, I want to applaud whoever edited it and did that. Um, but more so back to this trial. Um, I think my biggest issue throughout all of this is that it was Derek Chauvin who was on trial, but you felt like they were trying their best to
Mhm.
put the character of a man's life who was stolen, that being George Floyd, on trial, which is triggering because as a doctor, I medically know that it doesn't matter what they tried to portray this human being at this father, someone's child. It was literally all gaslighting and excuses. There's no reason for anyone not to see that this was murder.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are your thoughts, Dr. Tamika?
I just, you know, I don't know. Yesterday I had a knot in my stomach. I was very nervous about it. We have followed this since the beginning. We shot our first show in Houston where we talked to people that actually went to school with George and they went to Yates. And so we got to go to Houston and spend some time. Dr. KaNisha, of course, is from there. But we got to spend some time near where he grew up. Um, we also got an opportunity to talk to some people near the area. We went to the store where he frequented when he was a little boy, and we took pictures. Of course, there's a mural there. So this case has been inbred in us. So I have internalized it personally, and I have followed it. And I was extremely nervous because I just felt like something could go wrong, of course. And of course, I think we all had that feeling that that one juror would come up with, that doubt in their mind. So it's been hard to watch the entire time. I tried to stray away a little. I strayed away a little bit from watching some of it as the trial unfolded. And of course, when Miss Johnson joins us in a little bit, she'll be able to talk about it because she actually went to the trial. She was there for the opening argument. So we'll let her tell that side of it. But it was very painful to watch a lot of this. And what really tugged at my heart was the little girl who, of course, will grow up without her biological father. So that was really near and dear to me. When we talked to Miss Johnson Bailey, she is actually her dance instructor.
Okay.
She can give us some more insight on that as well. But again, I felt like a lot of the people, other people yesterday, when the verdict came down, they were cheering outside. And I know when you're a journalist, you're supposed to remain, one way. But again, the human part of me also felt a lot of the same emotions that the people outside of the courtroom felt.
Well, I guess, I'm a little different. So I watched it, from day one, every day. And I have unwavering faith. So I knew the whole time that he was going to be convicted, just how the prosecution laid out the case. So it was never a doubt in my mind that the jury wouldn't come back. And I know they had to make it seem like they took some time, but I think they really wanted to come back the same day because it doesn't take that long to render the verdict. The defense case was weak. He didn't have anything to really present. He was just throwing things out there to see what stick. So I think the prosecution team did an amazing job through the whole week. And so hands down, it wasn't nothing less but a guilty verdict, and that's what they render. So I was excited about that. And of course, it's still sad all the way around because George is not here, you know, but overall, we still are hopefully moving in the right direction with this guilty verdict. And next steps is sentencing. So hopefully the sentence is right and it matches the crime.
So, just before we move on, I do want to highlight that yes, the prosecution did a great job, and great accolades to a good friend of mine, Chris Stewart, who served in counsel, great Howard alum. But I don't want it to be lost that there have been clear-cut trials before where we did not get this verdict. So, yes, the prosecution did do a great job, but I don't want it, especially those families or people who may be watching who still remain victims of police brutality and crimes, who did not and will not get justice. I don't want them to feel like they are in any way slighted or unheard by us, or we're taking away from the fact that this is still an unprecedented win, because there have been times where the case has been laid out clear and true. And big applause to the Black woman who had the courage to videotape this, because it could have gone other ways. So I just don't want that to be lost. This is one victory um, for a change of times. It's hopeful, but within hours, another Black life was lost, and we still have so many victims of police brutality and over policing that still have not gotten justice. For us to just simply say that, it still could have gone either way. And even talking to the members of the prosecution that still felt that it could have gone either way. And that's the problem with criminal justice and why we need reform, is that it should be clear cut that you can't hide behind your badge, but that is not the case. Within minutes of the verdict going out, I know I was not the only one that received a whole lot of sharing of police officers saying that they were policing that night with the body cameras off.
Hmm.
So I don't want that to be lost. And like I said, within hours, over policing took another Black child
Yeah.
from their parents. So I don't want that to be lost. We still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I definitely think we have a lot to work to do, but just like we're stating our opinions. So just like you guys stated that, hey, you were nervous, I wasn't, because I know the God that I serve. So my faith wasn't shaken. I wasn't nervous about this trial at all. That's just my take on it.
No, I wasn't saying anything about your opinion or your take. I just don't want anyone to feel slighted or feel any less than because their situation did not turn out as far. We don't live in a just land. There is a criminal justice system for Black people and white people, and this one turn of events does not erase all of that. That was my only thing. It has nothing to do with your faith or your opinion. I'm just saying, I don't want anyone watching this to get complacent or feel slighted, or as if the reason why justice wasn't brought for them was something other than the fact that we live in a racist society. That's what I didn't want to get lost.
Well, my take there is that so many people have been impacted mentally, emotionally. The trauma of the little girl who gave the testimony was heartbreaking. Just seeing her face this morning, I watched ABC today when I woke up, and I could just look at her and see that. And I know she is getting therapy at this time, but just the fact that so many people who witness this will be forever traumatized by it. I'm traumatized by watching and just looking at it on a video.
Yeah.
So I think that the implications of what happened to him has really, really, really hurt us in a way, of course, that in some way that we may not ever get over. So that's just kind of my take on it. I just kind of thought back to her this morning, just remembering the look in her eyes and remembering how she told the officers to get off of him. What do you guys think about that?
Absolutely. I definitely think, all of the bystanders that were there would definitely have to live with this, for the rest of their lives. The MMA fighter, the 61-year-old that, initially told George Floyd that he couldn't win. And he said, I'm not trying to win. I'm claustrophobic. And I thought, that just spoke volumes. And then for them to play this part, to be there trying to really help him and to see how it ended, how it unfolded in such tragedy. No one should ever have to witness that and then feel helpless because they tried to intervene and they just couldn't.
I
So
agree.
yeah, we definitely witnessed a public lynching. We globally witnessed a public lynching, and remember, was only the trial of one of four officers. He still
Yeah,
has not been sentenced. He's been sleeping in his bed at night. So I mean, to see his bail revoked and him beginning to and him being turned over to custody, we still awaiting sentencing and seeing what that will look like. And there are other culprits in this crime. And where do we go from him? When are we going to truly have police reform? When are we going to address the outcry of an entire, nation who witnessed this public lynching? When is it going to stop? When are we going to stop creating hashtags? Is an even better
right.
question. When will I feel better about raising my daughter in this America, the tale of two cities?
Mm,
Yeah.
That's the bigger question.
scary. I see we have a comment. Someone said, I agree. Prosecution did their job. My fear is anything less than 40 years will be an uproar. What do you guys say to that?
It was George Floyd's brother who responded. This man maximally took my brother's life and he deserves the maximum sentence. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's absolutely fair. Um,
Let's talk about yesterday when the verdict came down. And across the country, you could see people dancing in the streets, people praying together, crowds everywhere.
Mhm.
Um, just take a look here in Minnesota. What do you guys say to this?
Mm,
I say it looks like some people are ready for the healing to begin,
yeah.
but this what's hard for me is I still can't see it as justice served. There's still a young girl who's growing up with I was 26 when I lost my dad and I'm still I'm still dealing. There's a little girl who will not wake up and have a conversation with her dad. He won't see her graduate from high school. He won't walk her down the aisle. There's an entire family and community that's missing their gentle giant. And
Yeah.
it's still just it does not feel right. And you can't and you remain reeling like we're reeling from last week. Um the young man, the father of a toddler whose life was taken because a police officer mistook her gun for a taser. Like hours after getting this verdict, like we have a 16-year-old child who made YouTube videos about hair care who is no longer breathing. Like
Mm,
Right.
yeah.
I'm just I am in a perpetual state of when is enough
Enough.
enough.
Absolutely. I think Ms. Johnson Bailey, she's here. I'm going to go ahead and bring her in. I don't have her picture here right now, but I can also bring her picture up. Are you there, Ms. Johnson Bailey? I think she's still trying to log in. I'm going to leave her up. Can you hear us?
I don't think she's in. Maybe she needs to turn on her camera.
Yeah. If you can hear us, turn on your camera and check your volume. We will continue to kind of debrief, and I think she's going to log back in, and I'll pull her back in. But as we continue to just to kind of talk about how everything unfolded, let's, I guess, go back to the beginning of the trial, because of course that's when all of the emotions began to run high. What were your initial feelings then?
I don't. Well, okay. Well, the initial, the start of the trial, I guess looking at him was something that, really kind of bothered me, because there's no expression of remorse or emotion there, sitting throughout the whole trial, and watching the video and watching this man plead for his life, and all the people on the side pleading to check his pulse, for them to stop trying to intervene and call the police on the police. And they get routed right back to Tao right there on the street when they call the police. So all of that was just so disturbing, and for him to see all that and still not show any emotion in court. It was just like he's definitely just operating in his ego. I really believe he felt like he was going to get away with this.
Absolutely. She's here. Hello. How are you?
Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you. Check your volume. Not yet.
Is her mic on?
Yeah, her mic is on here on this end. She may have to check it on her end. Just keep working with it, and when it comes up, we'll pull you in to the conversation. We're happy to see you. I know you were out in Houston traffic.
Okay.
No, not yet.
Maybe press the mic button, if you can press the microphone button in front of you, and see if it's not muted.
Yeah. And I was checking on my end. It's not actually giving me anything to pull her in yet, because we are anxious to hear her take on attending the trial. She was there in the beginning, and no, not yet. You may have to go out and come back in, check your volume as you're going
Does she see the microphone icon at the bottom of her screen?
Do you see the microphone icon? She said yes.
Can she tap it?
Tap it and just see if it's doing anything. She said, I'm tapping.
Let's see.
Okay. So as she is working to get her volume up, we will continue. I do hear something. Hopefully she'll come in. But this is actually Mrs. Darlette Johnson Bailey. She attended the trial in the beginning of George Floyd's trial. She also attended Jack Yates in Houston. She is a Houstonite, and she went to school there. And there are some family ties, and we'll let her talk about that, and we'll let her talk about some of the emotions of course, that she felt yesterday. She and I also are social media friends, so I've been able to see some of her posts, and of course, be impacted and touched by the posts that she has been making lately in relation to the trial and prayer, and everybody pray. And I'll let her also talk about her connection to George's daughter, which she is actually her instructor, her dance instructor. And so I will let her tell her story. She's going to go out and she's going to come back in. But as we continue to weigh in, if you guys have questions for us, if you actually just want to express how you felt when you heard the verdict on yesterday and how you've been feeling this entire time, we're coming up actually on the anniversary. I think it was it May 25th? What was the date of
Yes.
his death?
It was May 25th.
May 25th. Okay. I was already feeling a little anxious about that. And then I felt like the trial, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like it just went so fast.
Oh yeah, I thought the trial would at least be until June, like, longer. So I didn't think, the prosecution had so many witnesses they called. I thought the defense was going to really, have so many laid out, and they didn't. It was just, everything was just so quick.
Yes, I agree. All right. Can you hear us? Are you there? Yeah.
Oh, it's still not working.
She's still having some issues. Definitely. Let me see.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay. All right. So Dr. April is going to send you a message for you to check some things on there. But we, you see the mic button on there? All right. So for those of you who are watching, again, we have Darlette Johnson Bailey with us, and she has some family ties to the Floyds. She was at the opening of the trial, and she's going to talk to us about that as well. And of course, she also went to school at Jack Yates, as I mentioned earlier. And she also came on the chamber in the very beginning when we began to film our show when we were in Houston. And our production company was there, and she was one of our first 3 interviews. And thinking back to that, Dr. KaNisha, remember when we first talked to her, we talked to her about police brutality, and look at the rising number of cases since that time. You ladies speak to that.
And specifically her son, who was a victim in itself. And probably, just like I was saying before, probably one of those people who will never get justice. He was a college student at the time, trying to return to school, and literally, asked to get out of his vehicle at gunpoint, being harassed and I do believe he's a namesake. He's named after his dad, and the police harassing him because his registration was in his dad's name. So it's crazy how things come full circle, which I try not to lose hope, but it's hard when you're constantly being bombarded with seems like a never ending cycle of them trying to make it seem as if living while Black is a crime.
Yeah.
I just remember how emotional she was when she was on the show. And I think it brought us to tears as well, just hearing the story of her boys being in college and educated young men and getting their master's degrees. They were traumatized by the incident itself.
And they were afraid to share it with her because they knew that she was going to feel some type of way as a mother. And I get that when you do everything to protect your kids, but how do you prepare them and protect them from those who take an oath to serve and protect, but view you as a threat? Like, there are several memes right now going across on social media. Like, they have pictures of beautiful Black children and even a little bit older Black children. And then there's an adult Black person. It's like, when do we go from cute to a threat. And like I have a 6-year-old now. Yeah, I mean, she's darn cute. But at what point is she going to be seen in someone else's eyes as a threat solely because of the color of her skin?
Well, do you guys think that it's deep rooted like white supremacy? Because I've had conversations with a lot of different professionals, and they've stated that it stems back way back from the 50s, when this was happening quite regularly. Now we just have video footage, we
Mhm.
have smartphones, we have cameras that can capture this, but this is nothing new. It was continuing to happen way back when. So is it, does it stem from just that, like you said, the color of our skin, and it's just that long-term threat of, I just feel these people are beneath me because of the things that happened in slavery and back then, and just how they look at us differently.
Well, particularly with police, what's the origin of police? Why were the police organized? They were slave catchers.
Yeah.
Police were never organized to police white people. That is not the history of the police. They were not they were not originally organized as an organization to actually police white people. Their sole origin was slave catching, to continue to keep Black people as property. So it's hard to evolve from your true origin.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are offended by abolishing or defunding or words like that when it comes to the police. But that's what it is. Like, people feel like the tapestry of the Confederate flag is a part of our history.
Hmm.
Um, and don't understand how it can be seen as offensive to others. And my question is how do you not acknowledge the tapestry of racism in this country? How do you not? We
Well,
are a country built on stolen land. We stole everything to make what we are. And it's hard to evolve from that. Sometimes you need to start over.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. I agree. It's just so much.
Absolutely.
Isn't it though?
Darlette, can you hear us now? Or can we hear you? No, it's still
No,
not.
yeah, we still can't. Um, I'm not sure why. So that obviously means we'll have to have a part two, because we'll have to bring her back so that we can hear her and hear her thoughts, and um, because I want to hear what happened when she was there in Minnesota. I want to hear um, more about the feelings and the emotions of Gigi, his daughter, who was with her at the time. We'll let her tell the story. So we do apologize that we've had these technical issues and we haven't been able, but you are looking at someone who was there, who has ties to the family. She's from Houston. She went to Yates. So we will hear from her again, because of course, like I said earlier, she came on the show before and we talked a little bit about police brutality and her sons and everything that happened. So we are very happy that she was able to join us tonight. And we thank you guys for actually asking questions. One person said they worry about their son since he has a disability. People are still frightful of all of the things that they've seen and still the things that are continuing to happen. So when you talk about police reform, definitely we need these laws to change.
Absolutely. I think we definitely need the police to, you know, learn also. Well, they have it. They're just not enforcing it. These de-escalation techniques. My whole thing is, why carry a taser? Why have a taser if you're not going to use it? If your first response is to shoot, why are you even carrying tasers? And I don't even know if they carry batons anymore, but that used to be a thing too. So years ago, it's like, okay, you pick those things first before you go to the gun. The gun should be the last resort.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we definitely, you know, had a great opportunity tonight to get on and talk about this. It's a hot topic. We will have a part two with Ms. Darlette Johnson Bailey, and we'll be able to talk to her and hear more of her story. I'm anxious to hear more of her story. Remember, we do have some other officers that will be going on trial. So again, we'll be able to talk about that. But again, yesterday, just being able to see the people come together outside of this location where Mr. Floyd lost his life was just something to see. The hugs and the prayers, the kisses of people of all races, you know, coming together. So for me, it was just amazing to be able to see that across the country. So as we prepare to close, as always, again, we'll bring back Ms. Darlette Johnson Bailey. Give us an affirmation, Dr. April, as we get ready to close.
Well, the affirmation for today is, I can overcome anything.
Okay.
Short, simple, sweet. I can overcome anything. You really have to honestly believe that in order, to think like that. I can overcome anything. I can overcome anything. So this too shall pass. We're in the midst. So hopefully, justice will continue to be served in these cases. Still have a long way to go, but we have hope.
Absolutely. I can overcome anything. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for jumping on tonight. We appreciate you guys tuning in to the Chamber Talk Show. We are overcomers. Thank you so much. Again, we will bring back Miss Johnson Bailey again so that we can hear her. And as she talks about her journey through this and her ties to the family. And we will definitely be able to come back and bring you some more. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we will see you guys on next time.